Welcome back to Kiwoon. My name is Caleb and today we'll be going over Taiwan Semiconductor, ticker TSM. And their stock over the past year is down 17% and from all-time highs, down nearly 30%. And in this video, I'll be going over why I believe TSM will continue to fall to their fundamental valuation of roughly $60 to $65, as well as what to expect from their earnings later this week. Again, if you guys are enjoying the content, make sure to go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button down below. Now let's get right into it. So first thing I kind of want to go over is just that, on Thursday, April 14th, TSM will be posting their earnings, and it will most likely be becoming one of their biggest earnings of the year. A lot of analysts, or majority of analysts, point to this being a relatively positive earnings for TSM, and a lot of people believe that there will be a very positive sentiment of the earnings expectation, as well as the price sentiment going upwards. But one of the main things about the earnings I would like to point out is that TSM has been extremely consistent in either meeting their earnings or improving on it. See, out of their last 9 earnings, they've beaten 8 out of the 9 times, and even the one time that they didn't, which was Q2 of 2021, they still met the forecast that Wall Street put for them. All this being said, I really do believe that TSM has been on the right track in terms of trying to be consistent and trying to show Wall Street what they have to offer. The problem is the fact that they have a lot of competitors. See, Taiwan is currently ranked 3rd in the largest semiconductor companies in the world, with their 2020 revenue of roughly $45 billion. But when we compare this to Samsung Electronics and Intel, they are a lot larger companies, with revenues almost double, as well as total assets double to even triple of what Taiwan Semiconductor manufacturing is essentially putting up. And the reason why I believe TSM is most likely going to continue to fall is just because their valuation and fundamental metrics just don't look very good. At a price to earnings of 24.39, which again, isn't anything crazy high, but even for semiconductor companies and tech companies, I really like to see this below 20. But again, the price to earnings is not really something that's really bugging me, but it's rather just what their price to sales and price to book ratios are. Typically, price to sales, we like to see anywhere between 1 to 2, and sometimes even under 1, and price to book ratios under 3. And with both of these ratios for TSM being just multiples above what the range is that we really want to look at, I really just don't think that TSM, based off of fundamental valuations, should be where their current price is at. I really believe that there could be roughly like another 30% pullback from current price points to even argue that TSM is at fair valuation. But again, this being said, TSM does have some really solid free cash flow. Their operating free cash flow has nearly doubled over the past 3 years. But once again, you have to take into account that they're investing cash flow, or just the amount that they're putting into the actual products. This has almost tripled as well. So although their financing cash flow has finally just turned positive over this past year, the main point I really want to just point out is just that their free cash flow is extremely, extremely high. And so while I'm not an extremely speculative trader, I really would like to see that TSM using this type of money and investing it back into their products and other buildings and manufacturers, essentially to grow out their product and try to take over more of that market share, especially when, as I said before, TSM as well as Intel and Samsung, they're all competing for the same market share. And with TSM having total assets of quite low of 90 billion, when Samsung has roughly 304, it's going to take some time for TSM to actually come back and get that. And so I believe that they can use this free cash flow to grow in the future. I just believe that their current valuation as of right now just isn't the greatest. And on top of that, just a thing to kind of point out with all semiconductors in general is just that we're in the midst of a global semiconductor shortage. And as TSM's kind of already seen in action here, TSM actually stated in a report by Reuters that the largest semiconductor manufacturer has increased its 2021 capital spending budget to $28 billion. But funding and building new semiconductor labs will take at least a 5-year process. So for semiconductors companies like Taiwan or TSM, I really would like them to essentially use this operating free cash flow as they're doing to build more of this capital spending, just so that they have an actual future for themselves. See, while I think TSM can do really well taking over the Asian markets, I really just do believe that semiconductors are going to be needed all over the world, especially when Samsung, whose country literally is just Korea by itself, has already grown out to take so much of the Asian market. I really do believe TSM on a macro scale will have a hard time trying to take over the overall market for the semiconductor companies. And I really do think that TSM is a hold as of right now, maybe closer to the sell, but even according to Sachs, we can see here that their value is a C, growth is an A, momentum is a D, but they're really just in hold, which just means that Sachs and myself is not really expecting a positive return from TSM in this next year. While I don't think they will fully go to the minus 30% and stay down there, I do believe there will be a slight pullback from where TSM's current price point is at roughly $99 to $100, all the way back down to roughly 80 to 90 in the very short near-term future. But yeah, guys, that's basically all I have. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Again, these are just my opinions, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Make sure to tell someone that you love them, and peace.